Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Weezy the Wise back with a brand new video. Today, I want to discuss Gears 5 Horde Mode and ways to improve your game if you're struggling with the mode or perhaps new to Horde or, just kind of in between figuring out strategies between the previous iteration and this one. I wanted to kind of go over some of the tips that has worked for me, some of the do's and don'ts maybe. So before I get into this video, please, if you enjoyed this content, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel. I greatly appreciate that. And without further ado, let's get started. Alright, y'all, so let's jump into these tips. So, tip number one is assess your characters. And what I mean by that is take a good look at them in the menu before you get started or after you complete a couple of waves, and make sure that you have the right skill cards attached for what you plan on accomplishing out in the game. So if you're gonna use Jack and you like to utilize the Forge, make sure you have that smelter card optimized so that he can get extra bonus points. Or if you're using Dell, as I prefer with most of my engineers, I like to keep my fortification costs as low as possible. I like to keep my repair efficiency as high as possible. So it's very key that, for each character that you use, know their strengths, know their weaknesses, and try to get a very balanced team out on the battlefield that can contribute to your team's goals, because this is a team sport. I mean, you're not going out there lone wolfing it. I mean, if you coming to this game mode with that strategy, I guarantee you're going to struggle and you're not going to like it. So, I always take good time to see if I have scrap available that with you can't just get scrap by scrapping old cars this year. You really just have to keep playing and get duplicate cars, which is a grind, but that's how they set it up this year. So what can I do? But moving on to strategy two, or tip number two, is just be mindful of your difficulty. Start slow. I see way too many people getting in way over their head. I don't know why. I go into master matchmaking and see people at level one, level two, level three thinking they're gonna do anything. Hell, you can be at level 5, 7, 8, 9, and you're not gonna do anything. I mean, like, you just don't get in way too deep over your head. Like, it's good to start slow because you're gonna get cards just for leveling up on the beginner stages, and just getting those core base green cards built up will help you be more effective for advanced and elite, and then you'll be able to get blue and purple cards that will help you be ready for insane and inconceivable, and then you'll have a crack at master once you get that set up. But don't jump in day one. I don't know what people think they're going to accomplish. Maybe they think they can piggyback off of a team or something and try to power level that way, but I guarantee you that's not the way to go. I mean, this level 2 in here did not have success in this game. We were playing on elite mode. I mean, what cards can you have that's going to really help the team? So, and it's really about, it's not so much about in the bit. I mean, you could be a good Gears player and still not do well in Horde, because I mean it's so much reliant upon everybody working together and being a team. So I mean, you could be a great versus deathmatch player, and I mean that'll only get you so far in Horde. I mean, you could build up a character that could you know play to your strengths. So, like, if that's the type of player you are, you need to be get an offensive player like a JD or maybe a Foz or somebody, and build them up to higher levels. So, or Kate even would be a good one to utilize if that's your play style. Or but if you're more of a support role or engineer role, they have a play style for that. And you just have to know your role, which is tip three. I mean, know your role, know what you're gonna be good at on the battlefield. I mean, I love playing as Jack, but I know I'm not gonna get a lot of kills with Jack because Jack wasn't built for that. Yes, he can do some DPS and some, a little bit of damage, and he has, some ways to down enemies. But I mean, that's not my primary function. So I don't spend a lot of time looking for the kill with Jack. I mean, if your Jack has is doing the most damage round after round, and that's an issue. You might want to see how you can balance that dynamic. Like I said, and your engineer is not gonna probably not gonna start off beasting either. I mean, he's got to work on getting the fortifications right and protecting the fortifications and all that stuff. So, protect your engineer while he's battling. And if you're an offensive person, go out there and play offense. Target, mark the ones enemies that will threaten the team the most and go after them. Um, and that brings me to tip four, which is come up with an energy management strategy because energy is the lifeblood of Horde, and you will not get very far in Horde if you are not being very mindful of the energy consumption. They situate it and such in this Gears 5 so that everybody gets a piece of the energy that's collected. So if I pick up 100, five people get 20 apiece. That's how it works. So, if when it comes time to build fortifications, if you're not depositing into the fabricator, you're hurting your team because this is everybody's energy, and yes, you need to save some of it for your own abilities to upgrade because we do have our own individual skill cards that we can upgrade during the game that will help again bolster our effectiveness on the battlefield, but it can't be at a detriment to where you're hurting everybody because you're hoarding 10, 15, 20, 30K worth of energy, and either you're saving up for yourself or you're just not utilizing it at all. People just you know consume. If they're not collecting it, then they're not getting it, which was the case in Gears 4, but it's not the case anymore in Gears 5. So if you want those fancy things, you can't be shouting at your engineer, "Hey, build this and build that." And you haven't deposited anything into the fabricator. What can they build? I mean, they only have the energy that was split amongst the team, and that's not going to be enough to build everything that's needed, especially in the higher difficulties. You can maybe get away with that in a lower difficulty, but strategy and even at the lower difficulties, I would say practice good habits early because if you start off playing that way in the beginning, once things get harder and the enemies get tougher and building stuff costs more, you already have that mindset of, hey, I need to kick in, or really need to cut down. You practice good habits early, you won't have to build them up later. Um, and so yeah, build an energy strategy. That's very key. It's like one of my highest bullet points is you're gonna either have to utilize the fabricator, and I mean you're gonna have to utilize a thing called the forge, which is something you can build from the fabricator, and I also encourage you to have a jack when you do this because he gets the most energy from forging things and melting the unused weapons down. So it's very key that you have a good jack that's on board with a weapons melting plan, or else I mean that forge is worth like 10,000 bucks and it's not going to be utilized good. If I mean, yes, anybody can put weapons into the forge, but nobody gets as much energy output from them other than Jack. Just like Kate is still the scout that can her energy generation is more than anybody else. So I would recommend a jack that can, um, help collect weapons, and everybody needs to participate in that activity too. I mean, if you know that's a strategy, people need to be bringing weapons to the forge. Just drop them right in front of the forge. You can drop weapons. Just hold down the D-pad in the direction of the weapon that you want to get rid of, and it should release it from your hold. So that allow you to just, if you see a weapon on the ground, just you can pick it up, come to the forge, drop it near the ground on the forge, and Jack can just easily scoop it up. And so he doesn't have to run around the battlefield like crazy. If everybody's bringing at least one or two weapons to the battlefield, I mean to the forge, it'll make this process go a lot faster, and you'll get a lot more energy from the forge that way. You also want to consider going after some of the power taps. Um, that is also a very good way for energy regeneration, but it requires a little extra strategy because you may have to build further out of your initial base, or you may have to move your whole base entirely just to situate around a power tap. And but as long as you keep mining that power tap, it should yield more and more energy until a point where it's giving out a max yield of energy. Could be 200, 250 at the end of each round that um, get some energy out from them. And then it's up to you get up to 4 power taps. So if you're mining all 4 power taps and keeping them all built up and protected, that could be producing several, like 3 4 thousand worth of energy at the end of each round. But it's no easy feat, and it's not always feasible for every team. So that's something that needs to be discussed. And please communicate with your team members. This is not a lone wolf game. You need to have either your microphones on, or you can use a chat pad, or just plug in a USB keyboard to your Xbox, or if you're on the computer, it's easy for you to just hit the U button to start up a chat box and say, hey, what's the plan, what's the strategy, how you want to play it, and kind of get a feel for what your teammates want to do. I mean, you can't read people's minds on the battlefield, and it's better to start off on the same page than get out there and realize you doing one thing, they doing another thing, and it all just goes down. And like I say, you want to get a team that's gonna stick together. Those AI soldier fill-ins, don't expect much from those guys. they're just they're just bullet sponges, really. I mean, they don't have any strategy. They don't, you know, help out with the energy that much. They're just there to, clean up, and they wander off into strange places. They get themselves killed way too easy. The AI soldiers are terrible, but they're better than nothing. It used to be just an empty spot on the team, and everybody had to kind of really just put the extra load on themselves. But I mean, at least you get a feel in. But I hope, I encourage teams to really stick it out, even if they get stuck. I mean, chances are, if you were implementing a good strategy, and you just, every now and then, a team would get caught, or you get that one boss that just kind of, takes you off guard. But if conserving your energy right, and things, you can usually recover from that and finish the game, if you haven't blown every resource you had already. So you just have to kind of, like, again, just don't give up until the round is over. Don't give up until everybody decides that 50 waves ain't happening. But usually I've seen comebacks before, so try to stick it out to the end if you can, and and that's what I do to be successful in Horde. So let me know what you think about these tips and strategies, and if you want to play with me on the battlefield, I'll leave my gamer tag if you want. I'm W3AZ3 on Xbox Live. And I'd love to play with some people on my channel, so hit me up. like and subscribe my channel, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Peace out.